All right.
And we're live.
We are live.
All right. Well, welcome back to Buy or Burn. This is episode 6, I believe. I'm your host, Justin Eckert, joined by my mentee here, Cale Kinney. So I'm a full-time real estate investor, and I've been doing some education here online and making some videos. I do real estate full-time, multifamily. I have my own team. I've been doing it now, real estate total, for about let's see, about 16 years now. I started out flipping houses, and now I just do exclusively do multifamily. And I've got my own team, and it's really great. And I'm always excited to talk about real estate investing. And Cale is interested in getting started. So we're going to be searching in 2026 for something to get him into the game too. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you started flipping houses and now you own multifamily. Yeah, what? I guess I'll kind of introduce myself. So I'm Cale Kinney. I am from Elgin, Nebraska, small town. We're both from Nebraska. A little bit pretty close to home. I mean, you're probably 40 minutes growing up from where I was.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm a salesperson. So I've worked in sales now for 2 years. And, it's a great month in December right now because I already hit my sales goal. So we just get to take the rest of the month off, hang out with family. And yeah, I'm looking to get into my first property and kind of supplement some of my income and create wealth over time with multifamily. So I'm learning from Justin. Justin has the experience. He's gone through a lot of different types of deals and done a lot of different properties and has a lot to teach you guys and also to teach me. So I'm really looking forward to looking at another property. We made another video last week and the audio corrupted on it. So if you search on the YouTube, you probably won't be able to find it. But the mics are working today, hopefully, and everything is good. So yeah, we're going to go look through a property in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. Yep.
Sweet.
So why don't you tell me what a little bit about, we did this on the corrupted video, but a little bit about what your goals are with real estate investing and what you're kind of hoping to achieve eventually.
Yeah, so my goals with real estate investing is number one, I want to create wealth over time, right? With different types of jobs like sales, you have the opportunity to make a lot of income, and you can put the income, you can spend it, you can buy things, you can invest it into the market, you can put it into stocks and try to trade stocks or put it in the crypto or buy yourself a house. But I believe that after reading a couple different books and learning a couple different philosophies behind real estate and reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and all those different books and seeing other people do it, I really think that it's the best opportunity to put your money into something that pays you over time so that I can have experience with my family. I can travel with them and I don't have to worry about showing up to work on Monday because I have a management team and I have a property and it kind of pays for itself over time. So build equity and then I can do another deal to keep stacking them on top of each other.
Yeah, I had somebody online giving me a hard time the other day saying, really, real estate in 2026, as if somehow that was a bad idea, that the idea of owning real estate is an old idea that no longer applies or something weird. And so I thought that was kind of interesting because, maybe as far as the market goes, it's not an ideal time, but there's always deals out there. I think it's probably takes a little bit more effort, and it will in 2026, because the rates are still high and the prices are still high. So you have to work a little harder maybe to find a good deal, but there's always deals in real estate. And the people who are the naysayers are always the people who 5 years later are amazed at how much money the people who actually got into real estate have. But they were too scared or they were too, pessimistic or whatever to get in. And so I'm always encouraging people. That's why I do the analysis, because buying the property really is where you're going to make your money. If you overpay at the front, then you kind of screw yourself right from the start, and you'll be lucky to break even. And then it'll be such a frustrating experience. You'll sell it, and maybe you will even lose money. So if you can buy it up front at a good deal, it ensures or doesn't guarantee your success, but it's much more likely that you're going to be successful. So that's why I get so nitpicky on the numbers and so in detail about those, because that's really where you make your money, honestly.
And I think there's signs in the real estate market of people buying at bad times, quote unquote bad times, according to, the news or according to your family or according to anyone that might have influence over you, and those properties go up in value.
Yeah.
And people are always paying rent. People have to have somewhere to stay. And real estate's an asset that's not going to go anywhere. I could always start a business, but that takes a lot more work and a lot more responsibility on myself, because that's day to day, that's month to month, that's people quitting, that's people rehiring. But with real estate, it's pretty stable, right?
Right.
It's almost the same guarantees every single year, and you can kind of expect them. You can cut costs in some ways, which we'll talk about, like management fees or learning how to bill utilities out correctly. But for the most part, it's an asset that's going to continue to grow over time.
Yep.
Because that house isn't going to go anywhere, right? It's
Right.
always going to be there. That apartment complex isn't just going to blow away in the wind. It's not going to go down because, you know, a politician said something in America, or somebody said something in Europe, or Elon Musk made a tweet. It's not going to go down in value. And so it's kind of an expected return over time. And of course, the interest rates are high and the prices of properties are high, but that's not going to change the fact of the type of asset class that you're buying into.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, when I bought my first complex was in 2016, and people were freaking out about that then and thought that I was paying way too much for it. Well, now anybody would kill to get the price that I got back then. Right. So after 10 years, now it's like, oh, well, it was a good deal because you made a bunch of money on it. And it's like, that's kind of how the game works. You know, everybody always thinks everything is overpriced. Basically, that's how they did in 1980 when they were buying a house for $1,000 or whatever, you know. So
30 grand for a 4-bedroom house in, you know, Florida or
right.
something.
And people are like, oh my gosh, that's so much money, you know. So yeah, real estate's also a good play against like the dollar, and we can maybe get into something like that too, because the government inflates the currency. I mean, we have inflation every year, and owning real estate just goes up with that. So it's sort of like, you know, owning stocks and things like that. Like it goes up in value, but it goes up in a lot of value because the property is a large amount of value. You don't, and you get all that appreciation. So this $1 million property, you get $30,000. You didn't even do anything.
And even 3%. If you look at it from the interest rate that you're getting on your mortgage for the property, the inflation, let's say, is 3%. Your mortgage is really, if it's a 7% interest rate, it's really only 4%. Right. Because that loan is worth less money when the money inflates. It's kind of an interesting way to think about it. Yeah. But a stock market, let's say you own $1 million worth of some type of stock and it goes up consistently at like 7%. You're really only making, you know, that 4% then on the stock because the dollar is worth less. Whereas that property keeps going up in value, the rents keep going up. And your costs kind of stay.
This is why similar. When the rates were so low, I was buying aggressively and refinancing everything, and I was just like, I'll take as much money as I could possibly get at 3%. Like, this is insane because it's going to be free money when this is all done. Now I still have those. I locked them in for 20, 25 years, and so now basically I have no interest because they're going to appreciate 3% a year, and that's what my interest rate is.
And that's what the inflation is as well. So kind of you might be making money every single time on that. So yeah, but we'll kind of get started.
Yeah, I think let's take a look. We're gonna read through this multifamily myths debunked. So Cale sent me this, and we wanted to just talk through it and kind of talk about some of the fake ideas around real estate. So let's see here. Okay, yeah, let's start here. Myth number 1: multifamily investing is only for the wealthy. Are you wealthy?
I'm not wealthy. Do not come from wealth.
Yeah, this is obviously not true. You know, I know a lot of people in the multifamily investing world, and I don't think any of them came from wealth, honestly. I don't know if wealthy people really do multifamily investing. Honestly, I think they're probably doing a lot of other things with their money, but multifamily, large multifamily units, probably 400 plexes and things like that, maybe. Or they're investing with a group of people, but
putting it into a fund.
A lot of the things that we're looking at are not even going to be considered by like the ultra wealthy people. So there's a market for everybody to get involved. they wouldn't even be interested in something for a couple $1,000,000 if they're wealthy, because they would basically be making nothing. And it would be a waste of their time. So they're looking for big, large investments. So
Right.
this kind of keeps them out of the markets on these smaller ones. And you're kind of competing against people who are very similar to you, who are trying to scrape together what money they can to invest and get started. And,
Right.
so it's a very even, I think, playing field.
And especially with people, I read a book recently called What Would the Rockefellers Do? And a
Oh,
lot of what they invest their money into is guaranteed income, like life insurance policies or dividend paying stocks. Or a lot of times they would invest into funds where they're not even involved with the deal. They're just a limited partner, or they're putting their millions and millions and billions of their net worth into a property or a business or a, you know, oil field in
hmm,
Texas, something like that, where they're putting all their money up and they're not involved with the operations at all.
right.
And so I don't even think they wouldn't be interested in anything that we look at.
No, no, they look for, because when you have that kind of money, you have to put it in extremely large, liquid, things that have a lot of liquidity. So like stocks and bonds, and because you just have so much money. You know how long it would take you to put $6 billion into real estate? It would take forever.
Yeah.
It'd be like a full time job. So
You'd be
um,
buying every
you'd
single
be
buy
buying
or burn we
everything.
look at. If it's a
Exactly.
burn, if it's a buy, you'd be putting all your money into it.
Exactly.
And I also think, talking about the Midwest, because we're both from small towns, right? The wealthier people in these areas are lawyers, doctors, and some of those types of jobs. And a lot of times, at least from my perspective, I don't see a lot of times them investing into multifamily homes, right? A
No.
lot of times they have worked their butt off throughout college for 12 years, 8 years, and then they finally get their paying job and they're making 200 to 500 grand, 100 grand a year. And then they're able to just buy a house, buy cars,
Yeah.
and, pay for their family. They have no interest a lot of times
Yeah, I think
in,
mostly it all goes into mutual funds, stocks, index funds, things like
right,
that. Because they're busy people. They don't really have time to watch over a property, and they don't
right.
they don't know anything about it, and so they don't necessarily have the time to learn or any of that kind of stuff.
So
So
number one myth debunked. It is for anyone
get it out of
who
here.
is interested in it. Really, anybody that can find a way to scrap the
Yeah,
money together and find properties that are good deals.
yeah. Multifamily investing is only for the wealthy. After you accumulate a bunch of multifamily, then you're the wealthy. So,
Yes, then you become the wealthy.
all right. Myth number 2: active involvement is required for success. Now, I would say this one has some truth to it. Um, by active, you don't have to manage the property or be the maintenance guy or anything like that, but you do want to be watching over your investment, just like you would with any investment. Um, so if that's active, then it is active in that way. And a lot of people who own multifamily are, like, what would you call it, owner operator, or like owner manager, where
Right,
they're looking at the expenses. They know what things are because they probably had to be really involved when they first started, because there's a lot to learn, and it's helpful if you can be involved. Now, people have jobs, and so it's hard for them to be involved, but just so that you know the cost of things, so that you have a good relationship with your manager, so that you know who the maintenance guys are and what quality of work they do, things like
right,
that, because it is a physical asset. So there's a lot of physical things that go on with it that just for your own return and peace of mind, you want to kind of be paying attention to. Now, I'm not all that involved anymore. So, maybe I put in 10 to 15 hours a week or something. I'm not going to the properties every day. I'm not, doing any of that kind of stuff. I've,
right.
I've learned how my managers operate, how the maintenance people do, how they do good work. And so then I don't really need to be watching over it. Um, so if you wanted to be 100% passive, you would have to be like in a fund probably, or um, once you get your manager established and your maintenance established, then you wouldn't really have to do anything.
I don't think it's a good idea to not be involved at all.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
do think that there at the beginning, especially the first couple years, you're very involved. Like you're spending overtime hours, probably working on the property and making sure everything's correct. And then after, your first 2, 3 years of operating that property or multiple properties, you kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like moving forward. And you can kind of step back a little bit to, you don't have to interview all the tenants. You don't have to do all the things. You don't have to take them on showings. You can have management or software to do all that stuff for you.
Yeah, it looks like this guy was talking about active management. So yeah, definitely don't have to manage. And that actually is why I bought the first one I bought. It was a 42-plex that I purchased, and the reason I bought one that large is because I wanted it to be large enough to where I could hire a manager, so I didn't have to do it, because I didn't want anything to do with management. And so yeah, definitely don't need to.
Right.
Okay, myth number 3: multifamily properties are riskier than single family homes.
I don't think so.
I don't think
they're
so.
Riskier. Now, there's more money being put up in a multifamily home than a single family home, but think about the margins that you're going to be making in a single family home compared to a multifamily home.
Right.
If your house is vacant and you only have one possible person to rent it in a single family home, you're not making any money at all. And even if you have somebody, let's say that it's like a $200,000, $300,000 property, and your mortgage is $1,100 a month, and they're paying $1,500 a month, you have a $400 profit a month. Like that's really it could be worth it to build equity over time, but it's a lot riskier, because if the AC goes out, you made no money
like that year. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's my opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. Yeah, single family stuff, it's much harder to make money in. Because they're usually lower price as well. So with like a 4-plex or something, you're going to buy each unit for, let's say, $70,000, but you're probably going to make $1,000 rent on each one.
Right.
And so you're already, and that's a pretty good ratio for you. And it's just a matter of scale. All these properties are located in the same location, with the same lawn, with the same roof, with the same concrete, instead of, if you had 4 houses, now you got 4 lawns, 4 driveways, 4 sidewalks, 4 different roofs.
Yeah.
And 4 furnaces that are going to go out, whereas maybe you have one in the 4-plex that goes to all of them. And so it's definitely, I mean, I've never liked single family homes. I have accumulated some over the years just because they kind of made sense to buy at the time to help make another deal work and stuff like that. So that's why I've accumulated them, but I don't really like them. I don't feel like I make any money on them at all.
Right.
And it's like,
it's a ton of work.
It's like you make $100 a month. Like, I'm not interested in that.
Right.
I don't want to make $100 a month.
Pays for one trip to McDonald's with the family. Right.
Yeah. So I wouldn't advise anybody really to do it. The reason people do single family houses is just because they're available and they're easy to get into, right? Because there's just so many of them. There's not that many multifamily. Like, I could go buy 10 single family homes right now if I want, but there's no multifamilies for sale.
I do think they would be more liquid than
easier to sell. Easier to sell. Yep.
Because there's 2 markets for it. There's investors and there's people looking for their house. But in terms of cash flowing and building wealth, I think that multifamily is less risky.
Yeah, for sure. And single family home, if it's vacant, you have 100% vacancy.
Right.
So
you're out of luck.
No thanks. All right. Myth 4: real estate investments are not liquid.
Okay.
Well, they're not as liquid as like a stock, so they're less liquid than that, but they're not that difficult to sell. Now, maybe if it's like a massive complex that only has 10 buyers who could possibly buy it, maybe then, but as far as all real estate investments, like single family homes, those are super liquid. And multifamily is pretty liquid too, because there's a lot of people who want to get into multifamily. So there's a lot of buyers out there.
But I also think there's other ways that you can make your property liquid, because with the stock portfolio, you can take out a portfolio loan, right? Or with life insurance, you can take out a life insurance loan against the cash value. You can do the same thing with a property where you refinance it once it builds equity, and once you have more value in the property, you can always refinance it.
Yeah.
Right. It takes a couple steps to refinance a property, but you're able to pull your capital and refresh it and use it again tax-free.
Yeah.
Right. You're not paying any capital gains tax when you have a multifamily piece of real estate. and you refinance it. And like what you do, you
Mhm.
can use the equity
Yeah.
as to get another loan for a property.
Yeah, use the property as collateral and use the equity in it as the down payment for the next property. That's what I like to do. There, the interesting thing about real estate is, especially if you want to do it as just like investing, you pretty much hold it forever, because it doesn't ever make sense really to sell it unless you have your eye on something else and you're going to 1031 it.
Right.
And
Like
so
a tax-free exchange.
then it's tax free. But just to outright sell it is almost nobody to that's almost always a terrible idea, and because then you get hammered in taxes. So it's kind of an interesting thing because it makes you just stay in the game and to just keep accumulating, because you're like, well, I got this property that's gaining value, and so now I
Right.
have all this equity, so I guess I could buy another one.
Right.
And so I don't think a lot of people who get into the game really give a crap all that much if it is how liquid it is,
Right.
honestly. Because it's not really a short-term investing thing, and that's usually what you would want things to be liquid in. Oh, 6 month, okay, well, I'll sell in 6 months. But most in real estate investors, they keep these things for a very, very long time, because you're not incentivized to ever sell. You're incentivized to keep it and to buy more by the government.
Yeah, with tax depreciation and with different tax credits based on the areas you're in, you're incentivized to keep it. But I do think that people that flip houses would maybe believe that it's not as liquid, but if they're flipping houses, they should have a good idea of the market and when it's going to sell before they even get into the property.
Right.
And you flipped houses, so what that looks like. And so how liquid was it for you?
Yeah.
Single family homes, in that case, or even, quadplexes, triplexes, whatever you were flipping.
Yeah, those things they're super easy to sell. I mean, it's pretty liquid. I would not really, I would just call it liquid, honestly, because it's just 6 months, and especially if you know your market and you can price it right, you're going to sell the thing in a couple days. And so it's really, yeah. I mean, like I would say, it would mostly apply to like commercial property. Those wouldn't be as liquid, and to massive apartment complexes. But but then again, I see he says mentions in here syndication deals. Well, those don't really seem that liquid to me at all, because how would you can't just sell it when you want. You're kind of stuck in this.
I guess you could sell your share of the property,
I guess, to one of the other owners.
Right.
And so but they would have to want to buy it. And can they get a loan for a share of a, how does that all, I don't know.
Yeah. But we try to stay away from syndication.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of syndications. I mean, maybe if you have so much money that you don't know what to do with and you don't really care about how good your return is. But when you're the multifamily owner and you run it and you're watching over you'll get like a 30% return every year.
Right.
I mean, it's a crazy amount of return you can get because of the tax benefits, because of the appreciation and all that kind of stuff. And if you get seller financing, you don't put any money in, now you have infinite return, because you have no cash into it. So it's all so you can't get returns like that in anything else.
Absolutely.
So, okay, myth number 5, multifamily investing is only for experienced investors.
Well, sounds like you've been an experienced investor since the day you were born, right?
Yeah, I would definitely disagree with this. I mean, most of the people who get into it, I would say, aren't experienced investors.
Right.
It's
their first,
and it's their first
there's
thing.
a first deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to be an experienced investor. You have to, know the basics of how to analyze the deal so that you don't get screwed.
That's why
from the start.
Jay Allen.
That's why you watch me. That's right. Buy or burn, baby. And so, but you don't have to be an experienced. I don't really even know what an experienced investor would mean. I
think you learn lessons as you do it.
Yeah.
And if you seek for guidance from people, you learn a lot.
Yeah, I would say that it's more so not for experienced investors, but more so for people who are motivated and dedicated to learning and open to the experience and open to learning how it works. And that's really all you need to be.
Right.
And like I've said in the past, I know a ton of people who do multifamily investing. They all started out as inexperienced investors, and they're all doing fine. And it's not like these are the, you know, the geniuses that run society. These are just regular people.
Yeah.
They're not accountants. They're not deal analysts. They're not stock trader. Like they're not any of that. They're just a normal person who's working a normal job, but they can do the calculations because they're like, okay, well, this is more money than what it would cost me, so I think it's a deal.
Exactly.
Like basically that's
some simple math.
Yeah,
of course, be smart, right? Don't over leverage yourself. Don't put yourself in a bad deal. Like don't look at the first one you see and be like,
right,
that's a buy.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't take years of experience.
No.
You don't have to be on Wall Street to invest into a multifamily home.
No. Okay, myth number 6. It's difficult to find multifamily investment opportunities.
I would say that's fairly true.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it's not impossible. If this said it's impossible to find them, but is it difficult? It's a little difficult, especially given the market and the rates and things like that. But if you put in the time and you do the work and you look at the deals and you talk to people, you will find something. Like it isn't all that difficult.
No.
It kind of depends on what your criteria are. If you want to find something just in your town and you want to stay in your town, that makes it a lot more difficult than if you're willing to go 2 hours outside of your town. Then there's obviously a lot more deals outside of your area. So that expands. If you're willing to go 10 hours, or it doesn't matter where it's located. Well, now you got unlimited deals. Yeah. For sure.
So I would say fair. That's pretty true.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
It's maybe half true, huh?
Right.
All right. Myth number 7, multifamily investing is only suitable for local investors. Yeah, I don't know. Not only. I would say I have all my stuff locally, and I like it that way because it gives me a sense of control over all of it. I can go to it if I need to, and I can watch over it, and I have everything self-contained. I have a good relationship with my banker, and he knows all the properties and things like that. So there's a lot of benefit, I think, to keeping it local. If you can get something that's a good deal that's not local, the biggest issue would just be management. Right. You would want to make sure that you are talking with management. You're probably visiting the property once or twice a year to make sure they're not lying to you. And, once you get all that, then you're good to go. And the manager can do it. You're not going to be able to have the kind of oversight as if you were right there with it. And so I think your return would be a little lower probably as a result.
It'd be a more difficult start. But yeah. I think once you're experienced, and if there's somebody that you can send there and they want to learn more, they want to be your manager, and you're paying them well, like I think that it's not as big of a problem.
Yeah. And, if you are open to investing anywhere, I mean, that's a huge benefit because now you can find a really good deal because there's
you could own a property in Maine, and you could also own one in California, right?
Right. Yeah. So, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's not only
suitable. No, there's a lot of people, honestly, even here in our town, a lot of these apartment complexes are owned by people from California, oddly enough.
Yeah.
So
they probably sold all their property,
and they made a ton of money on it. They make a ton of money. A couple of them I bought were from people from California, and I'm like, why do you own something in
Nebraska, right?
No, it's weird. Okay. Myth number 8, multifamily properties are prone to constant maintenance issues.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they are properties, so there's maintenance issues on every property. Be the same with single family or commercial or anything, but I would say there probably is more maintenance. There's going to be more maintenance on a multifamily property than on a single family, probably.
Right.
More like ongoing, where it's like you got to clean the common area and you got to, somebody needs to clean the washer and dryer. Whereas in a single family, you're not doing any of that kind of stuff.
No.
And if you get good tenants, you shouldn't have any real issues of them like breaking doors and, causing a bunch of damage or smoking in the unit or something like that.
Right.
If you vet your people properly. There won't be that much maintenance. And most of it comes when somebody moves out, and you need to like paint the walls maybe because they've
Clean the
lived there for
apartment.
3-4 years or something. Yeah, clean the apartment, have somebody mow the lawn. But then again, these aren't you're not going to be doing these maintenance things.
And as somebody who has an Airbnb, there's a ton of maintenance with Airbnb. We have to clean the property every single time somebody
Yeah.
stays. We have 7 different tenants in the month of December right now, and we have to have a cleaner there every single time. We have to have the snow scooped, and we also have to have the lawn in the summer that has to be mowed. We have to make sure nothing is breaking, and that's with just one person staying at a time. Compared to where if you have your first one's a 42 unit apartment, you have 42 problems in one place, right? If you have
Right.
multiple Airbnbs or multiple single family homes, and let's say you have 10 of them, right? You have 10 problems in 10 different places.
Yeah.
And so I think that one of the things that excites me about multifamily compared to single family is that maintenance is all happening in one place.
Yeah.
There's one person to do it all.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
a couple different people to do it.
Yep, and that person will be you'll be a priority to them most likely because that's a lot of work for that person, and so they're going to be a reoccurring client. They're going to get really familiar with the property. They're going to know exactly what you want to use and how it go. And most of the apartments are all exactly the same, so they're really familiar with it.
Right.
With an Airbnb, if it's a handyman from the area, you're like one at the bottom of his list because he's already got his people and he's already got his things going on, so it's like, well, but we have to you have to get in here, and we've only got 24 hours before the next person's here, so like we need this thing fixed.
Absolutely.
That's a little more stressful. That's a good example of constant maintenance and management. It would be Airbnbs or like a hotel.
Hotels, yeah.
And it's like that would be constant maintenance, I would imagine. I don't obviously own any, but it seems constant maintenance there, constant management, a lot of in and out. I would not enjoy that at all. So multifamily is way better than that. The people stay there. So I'd say it's more so about vetting the people and trying to find the best tenants you can.
I think if you had a hotel, you'd have a lot of gray hairs in a couple months.
Yeah.
Number 9.
All right. Number 9, multifamily investments are not environmentally friendly. What?
Don't know. Don't really care. We're in Nebraska. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how are they any more not environmentally friendly than anything else? I don't understand. Like, and a lot of the like energy upgrades now make sense. Honestly, like it makes sense to just put in LED bulbs. It doesn't make any sense to put in incandescent light bulbs that are going to burn out every 3 months in the common areas, or whatever. So they're just kind of built into being more energy efficient for all those reasons,
Yeah. I think that's a very subjective topic.
Yeah.
Right? Saying it's not and saying it is, it's like, what is the criteria for being environmentally friendly?
It's like if in order for them to be I have actually considered looking at putting solar panels on top of buildings. There's like grants and things you can get for that, because then basically you get your common area expenses all paid for.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if that makes sense to pay for those but it didn't make sense financially, so I never did it.
And the thing with that is it won't ever change. Like the price of it won't really change unless you need maintenance, and then that'll cost money. But then you'll have a locked in energy price. But I don't think that it has to do as much with being a good person and saving the environment rather than just whatever makes the most sense for your property, your location.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the more energy efficient it is, the less it costs you. So
yeah, this is a funny myth. I've actually never heard anybody say this.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. All right, number 10.
Number 10, multifamily investments don't align with passive income goals.
Well, what are your passive income goals, right?
Yeah.
It really, if they don't align, that just means that your goals, you shouldn't buy a multifamily home. I think that if your goals align with, what passive income with multifamily looks like, then makes sense. But if not, it's like,
yeah, I think it would be pretty hard for it not to align with your passive income goals if you're comparing it to other things that are passive income, because it's going to outperform most everything.
right.
So I think that it would be pretty tough to not have it align with your passive income goals, because even if you're not involved at all and you're still just passive, you're still going to make a pretty decent return.
Right.
Maybe not 30 or 40%, but you're still going to make probably like 20%.
Right.
25%. And so it's like, that's a pretty good passive income goal. Yeah. So I don't see any truth to that one at all. So
No.
get out of here.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of broke down some different walls and barriers when it comes to multifamily. But let's look at a property for today.
All right. Yeah. So today we are looking in Oklahoma City, like we said. This is Rockwell Gardens. It's a 30-unit apartment building for listed at $2,400,000. That's $80,000 a unit, and it's in Oklahoma City. Looks like it's in maybe a decent area. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll go take a closer look maybe on Google Maps, but I've noticed that there's a lot of decent deals, like always, in Oklahoma City. So I don't know what's going on there. I've never even been there, but it seems like there's a lot of good deals there all the time. All right, so let's walk through the property here real quick. Looks like they've got maybe some luxury vinyl flooring. That's nice if it is, because it's really good for pets. It's really easy to maintain and to clean, and you basically never have to do anything to it. So it's much better than carpet. This is what I put in everything. Everything we own has all of this. Basically looks just like this flooring all through the whole thing, in the bedrooms, in the closets, in the everywhere. And because it's just so much better than carpet. I would not recommend using carpet.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to maintain. It costs money to clean.
Yeah, and it just it gets beat up a lot, and most carpet's pretty cheap, so it doesn't really last very long. So okay, looks like this is a living room. Maybe a patio out here or something. I'm not sure. Fireplace. This must be the house, right? I think there's a house on this property.
No, this was a different one.
Oh, that was a different one?
Yeah.
Because this is a strange kind of setup for an apartment. So it's like a clubhouse or something. But yeah, anyway, little fireplace there.
Looks pretty nice.
Yeah, looks like it's in decent condition. Looks like I see popcorn ceiling here, so it's probably built like in the 70s or something. Okay, another picture of the same. Okay, there's a kitchen. Got some interesting floor there. Looks like the original cabinets. I can't really zoom in, but hopefully they'll get us a little closer so we can take a look. Looks like a dishwasher maybe over here. That'd be nice. Okay, yeah, there we go. And yeah, these are probably the original cabinets. I don't know, from what I can tell, they look like they're in decent condition. We got a guy in the mirror here, looks like.
It looks like it's an older, oven, dishwasher, fridge.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. It's they might be newer. That's still what they look like. With these. Then actually this is the kind I get too, because they have the burners. If you get the glass top, I would do not recommend that, because I've gotten a lot of them broken by the tenants.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So they're a lot easier to clean when you go in there, but these I would recommend, because they're just a lot less likely to get broken. And then when they break that glass, it's like costs almost as much to replace it as to buy another one.
New one.
And it's like, well, geez, no thanks. All right, now where are we going? Okay, we got an upstairs, looks like. So a little entryway area maybe, coat closets, even got flooring on the stairs.
Yeah, no carpet.
Looks like they did a decent job. Okay, it's got a garage. So these must be townhomes, I'm guessing. So this is nice. Got a garage attached.
Right.
Hopefully it goes right into the unit. That'd be really nice. So it looks like maybe a two-stall garage. Garage door opener. That's nice. Okay.
Do any of your properties have garages in them?
Not attached.
No.
But I've got a lot of garages.
Yeah.
They're just detached. But yeah, just my houses have attached garages, but no multifamily stuff. Okay. Got a
interesting tiles straight into the vinyl floor.
Yeah, they don't really go together too much, but I'm assuming this is not like sheet vinyl, but it's like actual tile, and so
see.
that's why they left it, just because it's going to be really durable. Okay, there's an overview of it. This looks like these are the garages. So
Well, it looks like the garages, yeah, go right into the units.
yeah, and then the units would be behind them here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's these over here along there. Okay. Just kind of looking at the buildings around it.
Yeah.
Interesting little shop here. A lot of trees. That's nice. Okay, here's an exterior picture closer. So yeah, older for sure. So probably built in the late 60s, maybe. There might be some siding issues. I would want to kind of get a really good idea of what the siding's like, because this kind of siding with these panels tends to get rotten. And I would like to know if they'd replaced any, or if these boards down at the bottom are covering up rot, or even up here, like where this reaches down to the roof. Right. A lot of times that'll get rotten up there because they didn't do the same amount of flashing and stuff that we do now. Looks like maybe there's a gutter hanging off here. And yeah, so I would want to kind of have the agent, if they don't have any better photos, probably send me some of the exterior pictures, because we would want to this is at a huge expense if there's work to be done on the siding and stuff. Yeah. Looks like the garage doors are in decent condition. Like they're newer. I bet these were originally like wooden panels, and they've upgraded them to aluminum, or steel. Okay, looks like we're back at the beginning. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So not too bad. Looks like they've done a lot of work on the inside. Hopefully they all look like this. Again, we never really know. They're showing us the best one, of course, is always the way I think about it. So it's like, all right, well, if there's any problems with the nicest one that they show you, then you know that there's probably some really shitty ones in there. But I would assume they've probably put some of this in some of them. So hopefully they'll tell us. All right, investment highlights: 2-story units, condo, townhome style, value add opportunity. Okay, I always like the value add, because I come from a flipping background, and so like I always like the idea of like improving things and like making them nicer, and then actually making equity and all that stuff with it. So now if you're trying to be a passive investor and stuff, that wouldn't work out very well, I don't think, because you may probably don't know anything about construction or anything, and these people are going to be fixing things that they shouldn't be fixing, and
charge you more than what you should, and you have no clue.
Yeah. So I would only advise that if you want to be like really involved with the property and you want to oversee it, and maybe you want to go there and you want to pick out the materials and you want to pick out all the stuff and these cabinets, and this is how we're going to design it, like really involved,
right?
Because then you can make a ton of money doing that. Washer and dryer hookups, looks like they probably mean in each unit. Automatic 2-car garage, that's nice. Rent growth opportunities. So we've got value add, we got rent growth opportunities. So we'll see. HOA or condo conversion potential. Oh, okay. So they're claiming that there's potential to turn these into single family dwellings, basically, and sell them as individual units to people. That's interesting. I wonder how that would work out. It must work out pretty well if he's saying that that's a possibility, because yeah, I mean, if you're buying a I don't know, 3-bed, 2-bath house, what are you paying for something like that? You probably 200. I don't know what Oklahoma City prices are. Let's say it's $250,000,
right?
And you're only buying these for $80 a unit. You could sell them for $150 a unit and make double your money right off the bat.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. All right. Introducing an exceptional investment opportunity for multifamily investors in the thriving Oklahoma City area. It's impressive. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Of the 30 units, 29 are spacious 2-bedroom, 2-bath layouts, each offering the rare amenity of a 2-car garage. Additional highlights include large central courtyard with shared access. I want to know how many they've upgraded. Uniquely, all rental units are owned by a single owner, but titled as individual condominiums. Huh. That is weird. That is really interesting. So they're all individual. These are all just like single rentals. So you could sell
each
them.
unit. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Also gives you a good opportunity for, instead of a 30-year loan, just have 30 years of buying each each unit, right?
Yeah. Interesting. Huh. This could, I mean, this could be a really interesting opportunity here. This uncommon value add structure supports promising exit strategies, while the expanding Oklahoma City metro provides a strong foundation for long-term success. Size. Okay. So I'm guessing a lot of these are not, there's probably not a lot done on the inside, or else I would assume that they would mention it there.
Right.
That's a pretty important thing to tell people when you're trying to sell them on it. All right. Let's see. Class C. General residential. Huh. Built in 1983. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's get into the operating memorandum and take a closer look at these financials here. I wonder if they'll tell us anything about selling them as single families.
All right.
Let's see here. Where's my financials? Oh, I got to do another thing. I got to get my calculator up here. Okay, so here's a little bit more information. It says new roofs for all 3 buildings in 2021. That's nice. That's a huge expense.
I also seen something on the first page. It says the price of it used to be 2.9.
Oh.
And maybe this is an older offering memorandum I'm looking at, but you can see where it says 2.9. So they must have lowered the price of it.
Oh. Oh, are you on this right here?
Yeah.
This page? Oh, mine says 2.3.
Yeah, mine
says
yeah.
3 million.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Wow, so they lowered it 600,000. Okay. Huh. Let's see here. So I think that they sometimes say that on here. Last updated 12/16, and it was put on the market back in May, and they just lowered the price on the 16th. It looks like here.
I see.
So, that's a huge price reduction.
Right.
Wow, they went down 20%. Wow.
They must want to sell.
Must not be getting much interest in it. Okay, so yeah, it says new roofs. Claims that it's a decent area. Who knows? Okay, pictures. Okay, now we're down to the part that matters here. We got the financials down here. Does yours say on in here 2.9?
Yeah, mine does,
huh? Okay. All right. Wow. Well,
we'll look at the 2.4. That sounds like a big
yeah, right. Yours is overpriced. Okay. So let's see. There we go. So current income. Oh, I got it zoomed in maybe too. Can't see my categories there. So gross scheduled income is 289,000. That's just the total income. They got everything collapsed into that one thing. They're probably making money on other things like laundry and stuff, or I don't know, late fees and things like that. Right. But they just have it all in there. Gross income, operating expenses 150. Or hold on, was there? Okay, yeah, they do break out the expenses down there. Okay, great. Net operating expenses 150. You know, one of the nice things about this is that these all have their own. There's no real like common area,
right?
You know, so they're all like individual units.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. It's going to keep maintenance down a little bit. Okay, so currently they're making 289,000. The new owner they think is going to make 315,000. And then the pro forma they think you're going to make, well, actually it's down here. What do they do on the vacancy loss? Okay. All right, so I'm going to go with this line here, 289. So this will include all the stuff that guy's including. Does that make sense?
Right.
So 307. they think you're going to make because they're doing a vacancy rate, which is just built into his number already. So that's about $20,000 more than they're currently making. And they think that you can make 392,000, which is 103,000 more than they're making. They must just not be interested in making more money.
They're pretty
They're
scared
just
of
like,
money.
I don't want more money. What would I do with it? I have so much already. I'm just gonna lose $100,000 every year.
Right. They
Yeah.
must be super nice landlords.
Yeah. Right. We're gonna just discount everybody's rent. Yeah. So this is what they think the rates can be raised, and this is what they think you're gonna get. But I don't understand. Why wouldn't you have? If I was doing this, there wouldn't even be a pro forma because all my stuff would already be at the max of what it can be.
Right.
Right. So it's like, why would you manage a property like this? You know how much money you just lost? $103,000. $103,000 at a 7 cap. That is $1.5 million in value that you could have made on this if you had your rents up to where they're supposed to be. So this thing should be worth, $4 million. This guy's selling it for 2.5 because they don't want to get the rents up. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't get it. This is how all of these are. If these pro forma numbers are true and real, it's like, why would you give up all that money just because you're lazy or just because you've owned it for 30 years and you're like, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe the guy built them and he's had them for forever, but okay. So I always look on that with suspicion. Operating expenses of 150. They think you're going to cut them and can operate it more efficiently and better than them
while making $100,000 more interest.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you're going to cut the expenses in your first year by 16,000, and eventually you're going to cut them by 8,000 a year while you're making $103,000 more income. So you're going to make $111,000 more on it than these people could, because they're just so terrible at owning the property, apparently. And
Right.
You're going to be so awesome at it. I don't get it. But again, like I've say, these are marketing numbers. These are not reality numbers. These are best case scenario where the agent's trying to tell you, look at how amazing this deal could be. You could make $250,000 a year of income on this thing. You should buy it.
Right.
So you just have to be aware of that kind of stuff because they're not trying to tell you the truth. I mean, as bad as that sounds, like they will push the limits of lying as far as they possibly can so that they can sell you a narrative and a scenario that's probably unrealistic, but makes you dream about making a bunch of money. Because this is a super good deal. Look at this, 2.4 million. You're going to make 249,000. That's over a 10 cap. That's like an amazing deal.
Right.
So let me see what their current cap rate is. $138, $733. Okay, they're at 5.7 right now. So basically, they're saying you're going to double your cap rate. Says, yeah, almost double your income. Okay. Well,
that's interesting.
It is interesting. So there's 30 units here. And I would think that right now, they're not even getting $1,000 a unit per month.
Right.
For a 2-bedroom, it's basically a house.
Yeah.
You're not even getting $1,000 a month.
Here in Norfolk, you can get $1,000 a month for.
Oh yeah, for these, yeah, easily. Yeah. I mean, these would probably be closer to 1,500. And so that's probably what they're kind of estimating they're going to be. Is more like 1,500, and that seems like a decent deal. You have an attached garage. You've got.
You're in downtown Oklahoma City.
Yeah. So I wonder why they have kept everything so low. That's suspicious to me. But okay. Sorry, I'd make the numbers a little smaller here just so that we can see the lines. So cleaning and maintenance, they currently are spending $34,000, but when you, as awesome as you are, take over, you're going to cut that shit down to 7,000 because you're way better at it than them. So you'll save $27,000 a year. How does that make any sense?
That's not even.
How the fuck does that make any sense?
Not even reasonable.
I mean, what are they talking about? You know, what is all in this number then that's going away magically? You know, maybe they did apartment renovation or something and they think that you're not going to. But then if that's what that is, that shouldn't probably be in the cleaning and maintenance anyway, because that's a capital expense. So you'd put that somewhere else so that you can get an accurate amount that this costs on a yearly basis. So if you put in, you know, a furnace or something, you know, put that on another line and just tell me all the capital expenses that you've put into it. You're like, oh, we put in $50,000 of capital expenses, but the ongoing maintenance of snow removal and lawn care and, you know, like make readies and stuff, that was $10,000 or whatever. But then we actually spent 60, but 50,000 of that was improvements to the property, really, because that value really a lot of times just stays with the property, honestly.
Right.
Okay, but yeah, somehow, Cale, you're an amazing owner operator. You're just like, bam, killing it. I only pay 7,000. You guys suck.
I look at you know the grass and I look at it and it's gone. It's done. There's no.
It stops growing.
Right.
And when the snow falls on the concrete, it just melts instantly and never has to be moved. Does it snow in Oklahoma City?
It might. I mean, it's close to. I mean, it might. I think it does.
It probably does. Yeah. I think it probably does.
My girlfriend went to college at Stillwater, which isn't too far, and it would snow there.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's Oklahoma. When it snows, you know, people just don't know how to drive
Oh,
anymore.
really? One of those kinds of places.
Yep.
They don't get it enough.
Yep.
All right. So let's see here. A management fee. Oh, insurance. So they've got the insurance staying the same.
Actually going down by $300.
Oh, yeah. You're getting a better insurance rate than they could get somehow. Let me see what this is tax us at. Oh, it doesn't have it. Well, shoot. Okay. I would all depend on what it's insured for currently. This seems like probably the right amount for this kind of purchase price. So I would probably look into that a little bit, but I don't know. They're probably not messing with the numbers too much there. All right. Management fee, 25,000. And it's going to go up on you. So look at that. They increased the cost. So maybe they're taking the money from this cleaning and maintenance and they're like paying the manager out of that. And then they're swapping it to this category or putting it in repairs or something. They're not giving us a straight across comparison here. So management fee is going to go up for you. That's probably pretty accurate.
What about would you say is a percentage that you're spending on your manager?
For me, it's about 5%.
Okay.
And that's because I employ them and I've been able to use technology to keep my management low. I think usually it's probably around 8 to 10%.
Okay.
You know, like a third party manager, if you're hiring like a company to do it. I think it usually comes out to about 8 to 10%. So I would just always kind of do 10% because it's easy calculation. So this would be roughly, let's say, $3,000 a month. And so that's $36,000 a year. So, you know, this might be a little low. They've got it at 38,000. That's probably pretty accurate. You know, it's probably going to be about 8%. And this is probably about 8%. So
yeah,
they could be good there. Repairs. Okay. So they did $8,000 of repairs, but you're going to do 22,000. So I'm assuming that that's what some of this stuff was maybe.
Yeah.
Or these two categories here are kind of the same thing, honestly. They're not really telling us what kind of repairs these are. Are these capital expenses? Is that why they put them in a different category, or how are they not maintenance? You know, that's my question. So 27,000 is 29,000 is what they're saying, but they spent in those two categories 44, almost 48,000, and you're going to spend 29, so $20,000 less because you're amazing.
Right.
And supplies, oh shit, you're going to spend even half on supplies. You ain't doing nothing to these things.
No.
You know, you're just like, no maintenance, shut it down, call it off. We're not maintaining anything. We're not repairing anything.
Your door's broke.
We're
Oh
not
well.
buying any supplies. Yeah. Well, so what we would need a lot more detail in what these
Right.
categories are. I would probably just make my own spreadsheet. I would just use the higher numbers and put it into everything and assume that we're going to have the same amount of expenses. Now on a 30, these 30 unit, it doesn't seem like there would be all that much maintenance on them, honestly.
Other than the garage, right? Garage doors can break.
Yeah.
You need to make sure those work. If they each have their own washing and drying machine.
Yeah.
That's something.
A lot of times the tenants will have to bring those themselves.
Really? They just have hookups.
Yeah. But they might own them and like the fridges and stoves, but a lot of times like in a single family, sometimes they have them in there, sometimes they don't, and you have to bring your own. But yeah, that could be. Maybe they had appliances go out, AC units, all that kind of stuff. 30 units, they're from the 80s. They probably have that stuff that's going out. So my guess would probably be there's maybe an HVAC in there. They probably had some vacancies to where they put in that flooring, and that's probably why the supplies are so high. But you're probably going to want to do that stuff yourself, and you're probably going to end up doing that stuff too, depending on how upgraded these properties are. So
usually what you were saying before is you'd like to take the highest numbers in each expense category and put that into a spreadsheet to kind of get a good idea of not even worst case scenario, but what's probably to be expected.
Yeah.
When you get into it. And then also we talked about this before, but taxes and insurance cost, depending on what the property is assessed at, they'll go up.
Right.
The sale of the property.
Yes. Always assume that the property taxes are going to go up. It usually takes about 2 years or so for them to go up. And then they could go up for a couple of years because sometimes the assessor is like, okay, well, the property was valued at 500,000. You bought it for 2 million. We're not going to bump it all the way up to 2 million right away because that seems extreme. So maybe they go up to $1 million. Right. Then maybe they'll go $1.5 million and then maybe leave it there or something. But they definitely usually go up because a lot of times people will own these properties for a long time and it's still their purchase price is what their assessed value is. And the assessor hasn't really changed it much. And so it's way under what it should be.
So if the same person has owned this since the 80s.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot more insurance and a lot more taxes.
So let's see here. We can figure out what it's assessed for here, roughly, because we'll just assume like a 1.9 tax rate. So it's assessed a little less, about $1 million. That's what it's assessed at. So they have it going up to basically, I don't know, $1.5 million ish. So they might be a little low on that. They know the assessor and the rates better than I do, obviously. So I like that they increased it. A lot of times when they just leave it the same, like it's not going to change. That's super annoying. And it shows me that they don't actually know what the fuck they're talking about, because it's like anybody who's done this for a day knows that these things, that the taxes are going to change.
Yeah.
And if it's a guy who's owned this thing forever and he still has in his mind that it's worth $500,000 and that's all he's insuring it for, then your insurance is going to go way up too. So you need to know some of those things. But here, the more the concern is the cleaning, maintenance, and repairs that seem all out of whack.
Right.
Utilities, okay, 1,300. I'm guessing that's like lighting on the outside of the buildings, maybe and trash,
right?
Because it's really low, so I don't think it could include water or sewer. They must all pay their own. This is super low utilities for 30 units. That is, I mean, you should be paying double that per month,
right?
Usually on multifamilies. Yeah, so there's no common areas. Yeah, so you're not lighting any of that. They're using their own electricity for their washers and dryers.
The garage is theirs.
The garage is theirs. So maybe you have some lights, out. Probably not. I'm guessing this is probably trash. It's probably trash removal. It's about $100 a month. So it's probably just for the trash. But cheap. Yours are going to triple.
Right.
I wonder why. I wonder what's going on. Maybe the current owners are doing, I don't know,
mowing their own.
I don't know, doing something on their own. I don't know why it would go up, or they know the guy who in the garbage does them a favor, but this is what the real rate is, or something like that. So at least they have our expenses going up. That's a good sign. That's that they're being honest. Appliances. Okay. So they've replaced some appliances.
I don't really know how you're gonna determine that. It's got to be like the same as repairs. I don't know why there's a separate
Yeah.
category for appliance.
Yeah. I mean, or like, isn't that a supply? I don't know. So they replaced, looks like 6 maybe appliances or something, 6 or 7 appliances. But there's a lot of appliances in this place, so you're gonna probably, they've got you budgeted to replace maybe 3 a year, and maybe that makes sense. I'm probably gonna have some years where you replace more of those, more than that, but I don't see much of a problem with what they've got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm thinking we need to increase our expenses here. Probably, I don't know. Let's just go. I mean, they got a ton of expenses. We're going to increase it by, like, let's say $40,000, so that we're about 200,000 on their pro forma. We're about at what they're at, honestly.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Really, that seems like there's big upside in the rent here. I think that's the best thing this place has going for it. Probably is that the rents are way under. I hope there's probably not a rent roll, is there?
I'll look real quick.
I see they've got some comps here. I wonder what they. All right, so their comps are, man, these things sold for really cheap. Now they sold in 2023, and they sold, wow, only 64 units, 67 a unit. Okay, here's a more expensive one, 89.
I guess if you scroll down a little bit, it has the average rent.
Right here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, average rent. Whoa, look at this, $551.
I'll stay there.
Holy cow. And look at the average size, 45 square feet on ours. 45 square feet. No. Look at that, average rent per square foot, $18. You only get a closet to sleep in. So they messed something up there, yeah.
On mine, it says the average size is 1095.
1095? Oh, okay.
Yeah, for our unit.
Okay. And the rent's $844?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I guess, I don't know, with these comps, it doesn't look like you can get any more rent.
Right. It looks like it's pretty low. And
$844 for a 2-bedroom. Okay, you guys move to Oklahoma City. Cheap housing.
We'll let you stay.
That's really low. I mean, gosh, especially if you fixed these up nice and you made them look really nice inside, and maybe painted the outsides and cleaned them up or whatever. Like, gosh, it sure just seems to me like you should easily be able to get 50% more than that, and that would still only be $1,200.
Right.
That seems really low. Now these are townhomes down here. Now these are apartments, so they're a lot harder to compare. So you get a lot more amenities with this than you would in an apartment. You basically get your own house.
Right.
And this would be more of a comp down here. They're at $850, so we're at the same price. Ours are a little bigger. You said $1,095.
Yeah, so about 100 square foot more, a little bit more.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Interesting that these are all so low priced. I guess I'm pretty surprised by that. Doesn't look like there's probably going to be a rent roll.
I don't think there is.
Okay. Huh.
So if we go back, we can see what they're trying to raise the rents to for the pro forma, though. Just like kind of doing the math on it.
Yeah. Yeah, if we just divide that out. So let's see here what they're thinking. So we'll take the we'll do this gross scheduled income here, and we'll do the 413, 910. Okay, we'll divide that by the 30 units. We'll divide that by 12. So they think we can get 1150.
Right.
Now that seems pretty reasonable to me, but they should have showed us some comps in that range, that said, oh, look at this one. Maybe it's just the new builds that get that kind of rent here.
Right.
And there's just so many low priced units that you can't really get out of it and make the rents higher. But yeah, I would definitely want to do some more comps and because there's a lot of opportunity here, honestly.
Right.
So if you we already know that they're probably not getting much offer. Maybe they are now because they lowered it so much, but let's say that you paid 2.4 for it. Let's find out what that mortgage would be here. Okay, 16. Whoops. Okay, $203,000 a year. And so depending on what the real expenses end up being and their pro forma, it probably would pay for itself. What I really like the idea though of just selling these babies off.
Right.
Buy it and sell them off one at a time, rent the others out while you're selling them. Sell one at a time, maybe sell 5 each year, and then, or something like that.
Right.
I think there's like a huge opportunity in that. That would be a really interesting to like get in more in depth with that, because you'd have to look at, what do houses sell for in Oklahoma City, and you'd have to probably have it call an agent, maybe this agent, and say I'm surprised they didn't put any of that in here. What could these sell for as individual units? To putting it in there as if it's a good thing, but then not really telling us, why that's a good thing, or like how much potential this thing has, which is what I would expect someone to do who wants to, really sell you on this.
And also, you want to know, kind of with this type of deal where they're all different units, what is the seller's intention with this sale? Does he want a 1031 exchange it, or is he trying to get out of the business, or is he just trying to sell this property off? So,
yeah,
you've talked about this before, with different houses and different pieces of land, different parcels, you can find a way to get some interesting financing.
Yeah, for sure. It just strikes me as somebody who's owned this for a long time, I guess. I'm not sure exactly why the rent's low. I don't know. I'm guessing this person probably owned this for a while, and so they probably would be open to seller financing because they have a ton of equity in it. And if they just want to be done, they don't really intend to buy another property with all the proceeds, and they're just going to take it and retire because they're tired of dealing with tenants and all that kind of stuff. And they're 70 years old and they just want to be done with the whole thing. They're more likely to do some seller financing, especially I think for younger people who are just getting into it, because they feel like they're helping you out. But then they also make more money that way. So if seller finances, $500,000 on the purchase of this thing, and you pay him 7 or 8%, he's going to make $40,000 a year
from interest. Right.
And so that's a nice little extra income for him in retirement. So they tend to be open to it. So I would that was always my first question. Seller financing, are they open to it? And it takes a while to find people who are.
Right.
Not everybody is, but I like these older units, these ones that have value add opportunity, because a lot of times it's the same owner and they're the ones who kind of neglected it and ran it down to begin with, because he's probably still making like $100,000 on this thing because his expenses, his mortgage is probably minimal and things like that. Now I could go into the ML or the GIS and find out when it was last sold and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think I'm intrigued by this one. I think I'm going to give it a buy, at least a look more. That's a look more into it and find out what's going on here, because there does seem to be opportunity on this one. I think there's a lot of potential. I'm shocked that the rents are so low, and that to me, it doesn't seem like it would be that big of a problem to raise them up that much.
Right. I
You
think
know?
I think it's possible. I think you'd have to look at comps around the $1,200 range
Yeah.
to see if we could compete with them. But I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of value for the tenants there, right?
Yeah.
Having a 2-car garage in your apartment, right? That walks into your apartment, that's private.
Yeah.
I think that's really nice. I think there's an opportunity to sell off some of the condos.
Yeah.
If you want to. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of opportunity with it. And I definitely would not invest into it as a brand new investor trying to get my first deal. But
Yes.
for someone like you,
yes, it would be a lot of work because I would want to make all of these really nice. I think that would be a big benefit to these. The exteriors I think need to look nicer. Now maybe the area doesn't make sense, but if their pro forma is anywhere close, like let's say this is 220,000, and let's say we're going to value it at a 6 cap. Now we're at 3.6 million, so you can make $1.5 million by getting the rents up,
right?
Basically, and so that's worth your time, I'd say. I like that idea. This is kind of like my wheelhouse of property right here. So I'm always look on them favorably because I love the increase in the value. I love the value add. Now this would be hard to do from a distance, I think, unless you would want to do a lot of inquiry as to who the maintenance guy is and what he's capable of doing, and if they have subcontractors and things like that. And you would probably want to negotiate into the deal some money. So maybe, like, let's say you pay 2.5, you overpay, you pay 2.5 for it, but you get $100,000 back as a credit, and that's what you're going to use to fund all of the repairs that you want to do.
Right.
That would be a decent deal, or offer them full price with $100,000 credit, and then basically you're financing that money, and you're not bringing it yourself. So there's a lot of different ways to finance these things. You can get pretty creative, and it sort of has to do with knowing what the seller, what their situation is, what they're interested in, what you need, what your bank will tolerate. And so that's a whole kind of dynamic that goes on in a lot of these when you're trying to negotiate a price. But
I think there's opportunity there. I think you can raise the rents. I think you can add value to it. I think you can sell units off. You can probably, because it looked like there was 2 buildings, each of them probably had 12 maybe, and then there's one smaller building that looked like it had 6. You could sell off all of those 6.
Sure.
Right. And make all of if you put any capital in, you can make it all back, and then you could fund those ones, making them nice. Yeah. So there's all sorts of opportunity. I think it's a very creative project and deal. So
all right. Yeah.
Cool. I think it's a buy then.
Yeah, it's closer to a buy than it is to a burn in my mind. A lot, especially considering the other ones we've analyzed. Most of them are just easily burn, get rid of it. This deal sucks.
Yeah,
this one has potential.
We've looked at some, and it's like if you bought it for half the price they have it at market, you still would lose like $40,000 a year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, doesn't make much sense.
Right. Cool.
All right. Well, if you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can see our next episodes of Buy and Burn.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, comment them in the chat. Right now, it looks like we have one person live. How's it going? But yeah, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and get to see family. You excited for Christmas?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's pretty easy from my perspective. We don't go out of town. We don't fly. We don't travel. Our family's all around here. And so we go to my sister-in-law's for Christmas Eve, and we do some presents and play some games, and it's usually a pretty fun time. And then we do Christmas at home with my family, my little family, my wife and kids. And then around noon on Christmas Day, we'll go out to my brother's house, and my whole family will get together there, and we'll have a lot of laughs. We always have a great time, a lot of laughs, a lot of fun, a lot of jokes.
Right.
And we're doing a gingerbread house competition this year.
Oh, geez.
So my sister-in-law paired us all up in teams, and she sent us out all the rules and stuff like that. So
Pretty serious, right?
it's pretty serious, and we're pretty competitive. So
Yeah.
it's like we instantly all made group chats, and we're sending it out to, we're planning we're strategizing and stuff like, oh, what should we do? Should we do this? Should we do this? Getting pictures up of,
Yeah,
TikTok
off
and
the
stuff like
internet
that.
or
And
Pinterest,
this is
right?
this would be awesome. Let's do this. And so we're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good time, and hopefully we win. So wish me luck.
Yeah, you
So.
better win. Right? We're talking about homes. You're
Yeah.
gonna build a gingerbread home.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well,
awesome.
What about you?
I'm spending some time. My older sister just moved into a house with her boyfriend, so we're going to visit them. It's about 2.5 hours away, and then we're driving all the way across the state by Denver for my girlfriend's family. So that'll be like a 6-hour drive, and then we'll drive back, and then we have like 2 Christmases, and then it's my 21st birthday, the day after our last Christmas. So from the 23rd to the 28th. Pretty much have Christmas every single day. And then the 29th is my birthday, and I'll be sitting at home watching TV.
21st birthday?
Yes.
Oh my.
And then by the time I'm 22, hopefully first apartment complex, right?
Well, that's really, really fast. I mean, that's super young to get started. I like that.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about being born so close to Christmas?
Yeah, it's there's good things and there's bad things. There's good things, everybody's home, but sometimes the Christmas presents are half as much, and then half of them are for your birthday, right? Because it's at the same time, and it can be. I would rather have it me that than my girlfriend that, right? Because then it's Christmas, her birthday, and then Valentine's Day, all within like a 2 month chunk. But no, it's good. I think it's fine to see family, and I like the winter. It's kind of one of my favorite seasons, just because of snow and stuff.
Yeah.
But it can be fun to go skiing or to go and do things like that.
Okay. Yeah. My aunt was born on Christmas Day, and I've got a nephew who's born close, like December 10th. And one of the things is always his mom's funny about it. She's a real gift giver, right. And she's like, now, treat this like a normal birthday, all right? Don't treat it like it's his Christmas presents. We want him to get,
both.
Like, right. I was born in May, so I had no issue.
Right.
People totally forget about Christmas by the time my birthday rolled around. So I got all my stuff.
Lights are down and everything. Yeah, with me, it's like, oh, Christmas is done. Here's our leftovers. This is what we got left for you. Maybe like a gift card or
something that they got that they didn't want. They give that to you for your birthday.
That'd be fine, right? I pick it out for them. I know they won't like it. Get a gift back, right?
There you go. That's a great idea.
Indirect gifts. I'm sure you've done that before. Like buying gifts, toys for your kids. You're like, I can't wait.
Oh, I know. I love this Nerf guns. They're so fun. I'm gonna get one for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it all the time. They're probably gonna use it a couple times, but I'll really like that gift. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully after New Year comes around, we'll probably do our next episode together, looking at some different properties. Yeah,
I might do some reaction videos, maybe, to some stuff in the meantime. Little videos here and there, and we'll be back after the first, probably.
Yeah. Do you think anything will change in 2026 when it comes to real estate investing?
Well, I do think that the rates are probably going to go down. The Fed chairman, Powell, he's going to be done soon. I forget, January, February. And so then Trump will get to replace him. And I'm guessing he's going to put a real aggressive person who wants to lower interest rates. And so I'm guessing we'll probably have a few more drops. And so that would be a good time.
So that'd be a buyer's market then, right? When the interest rates are low.
Yeah, before the prices adjust up to absorb that. Yeah. So it would be, I feel like the prices are kind of coming down now because the interest rates are still high. And so then if they can lower the rates in the meantime, while these prices are still getting priced low because they're based on comps and stuff like that, then it's sort of like an arbitrage type opportunity there or whatever.
There's a time to buy where the interest rate's lower, but the price is still the same and the price hasn't gone up.
Right. Yep. And so and I think for people like me who bought in like 2023, 24, 25, and we have really high rates, hopefully there will be some refinance opportunities in 2026 because it's come down, but it's still like, it hasn't come down enough for it to really make sense for me to refinance. Yeah. So I need to really wait for it to come down more because my bank is going to just just adjust the rate basically. So
Yeah.
we don't really do it, but they don't want to do that very many times. They don't like doing
So,
it too many times. So
do you plan in 2026 to purchase anything new?
yeah, I do. I'm looking at one here locally. It's not on the market, but we're trying to get a hold of the seller. But I do want to buy something, probably something larger. I'm kind of running into a problem where my depreciation is not keeping up with the income. So I'm kind of wanting more depreciation.
Oh,
So
no,
that's
paying taxes.
I don't want to pay taxes. I know I'm gonna have to pay taxes. So
Right.
I don't want to do that. So I need to buy something so that I can not do that and then still make money.
Are you looking maybe in the future with if the rates go lower to refinance a loan to put a down payment on a property instead of just refinancing what's remaining on the loan?
I could try. I probably would just refinance, just do a rate adjustment is what they call it. Because I can use the property as the collateral, I guess. And so I would probably keep that payment. The reason I like to do it that way is because then like that property now basically has 100% loan on the property, right? Because so if I buy a property for 2 million, let's say, they just use this property as the collateral for the down payment. Essentially, I've got a $2 million loan on that. They give me a $2 million loan on that property. And so then I know exactly like, okay, this is what this thing has to do,
right?
You know, and it's real easy to keep the numbers kind of clear. Like, okay, we lost $1,000 this month. We need to, we need to be better at our expenses and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's my method, I guess, works for me.
Yeah,
so, but I think I'd like to buy something maybe in Florida. I've been looking there. I think I actually did a video on one.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty decent deal, actually. I consider maybe going down there and taking a look at it. But yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So, all right.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Well, thanks for joining me, Cale.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to doing it again.